Here's a FJ practice the other day when we were videotaping before Treasure Island. Slow motion, woo! Lucas and Lauren, why are you guys so scared of each other? Let's always remember we want one massive weight in the boat, not two, right? We want our mass as condensed and synchronized as possible. We've got like 3 feet between the space here. Lauren looks like she's in the right spot. Lucas, pretend like you like her. Why? Let's be friends. Let's sit the way we should be sitting together. Let's see, Chris and Ian, you guys look a little far apart here too. That's one thing I noticed kind of in this entire video is just the crew and skipper weight placement was big room for improvement. Two main things I noticed this day were skipper and crew weight placement issues and mainsail shape. We want to look at the mainsail shape a lot, but most of the videos that show it the best from this day we don't have uploaded yet. Paul, you only got like the exciting shots for music and stuff. We want to actually coach with this stuff, so we want to get the videos that show the different shapes of the mainsail. I have them too, I just have them in that AVI format that's really, really hard to work with, so I have to get the software to get them in the right format. So yeah, a lot of space between you guys. I guess we're going to watch it again. Okay, skip into the rabbit start. So, something I notice all the time with everyone is rounding the rabbit. You want to have the best rabbit start you possibly can. You want to come out with full speed on the wind, with your boat flat, fully trimmed. So Chris and Ian there came out a little shaky with their main eased and their boat leaning over. And it looked like the reason they did that was because they approached the rabbit from too high of an angle and they had to make too large of a turn. So take the turn out earlier and approach the rabbit from a higher angle so that you make a less dramatic turn to head up behind the rabbit, and it'll be easier to synchronize your weight, your turning, and your sail trim to have a good rabbit start. So a lot of skippers and crews out of sync here. Skipper movement's good, but if you're out of sync with your crew, it's not really helping you too much. Definitely noticed this a lot with Evan and Jody today. Here we go. So Evan looks pretty perfect if he were sailing a laser. Pretty perfect if you were sailing a laser today, but you're in a double-handed boat. So I think you would get probably 4 times as much out of the energy that you're putting into the boat if you put in half as much energy and synchronized it with your crew, right? If Jody's sitting still and you're working your butt off over the waves, it's not doing as much as it would if you did half as much work but incorporated Jody's weight into the movement with your own. Okay, you guys want to move your weight together over the waves in an FJ. You don't want to have the skipper moving and the crew sitting still. Okay, and it's really kind of hard to do because you have to know exactly where you're moving at all the times, and everyone really probably works the wave with a little bit different of a rhythm. Everyone kind of finds a rhythm that works for them. There is definitely a best way to do it, and you guys both want to find the best way to do it together. We are going to look at the way Jody does the Superman tack here because Ian was having a lot of trouble tacking today. Okay, so what we're going to see is Jody has the spinnaker sheet in what is her right hand. It's hiding behind Evan here. And she took all the slack out of it before the tack. She stepped over the centerboard trunk with her left foot, grabbed the side of the boat with her left hand, and she's taking the jib sheet with her as she crosses the boat. So she doesn't even have to think about trimming the jib. She just crosses the boat with the slack pulled out of it, and it automatically trims itself. And then what she can do from this position if she needs to is she can take her right hand and lift it up over her head, and then she can take her left hand and grab the sheet when she sits down, and she'll have a fully trimmed jib in 2 arm movements or less. So Ian was having a lot of trouble with this because he was kind of new to crewing today. Ian was doing an amazing job of hiking out and keeping the boat flat, and Chris and Ian were actually probably the fastest boat on the water today. So there is some not very good footage. Okay, so this shot I really like. because we can see that Lauren and Lucas, I really like the way the body weight is positioned in this picture. Lauren is hiking out with her shoulders really, really low to the water, and her butt's not super far over the rail, because then she would probably be hiking out too hard. And what this does is it opens up a really nice window for Lucas to see the waves coming towards him, to see the telltales. Okay, so the crew should always be lower than the skipper. So what we saw a lot today with Evan and Jody was Evan working the boat so much that Jody was higher than him and in his line of sight. It works for him, but I think it would be better if Jody synchronized into Evan's body movements and stayed lower than his shoulder is. Keep her shoulders below Evan's shoulders like Lucas is here. I think less movements with more balance and more synchronicity and more smoothness is better, especially if the weight of both of you is synchronized in with each other. So if you look at this shot here, these guys are eased out. They're not trimmed in all the way. Ian is sitting up. Chris is hiking out harder than Ian. For the most part, Ian was hiking his butt off and was lower than Chris all day. But in this shot, we can see mistakes, right? It's easy to see mistakes when in single instances when you have pictures. A lot of body space there. What I do like, actually, is look at how synchronized their weight movements are. That's really cool. That's really, really good. Okay? That's perfect. The only thing is that you guys need to be sitting a lot closer to each other. And look at that turbo flatten by Lauren. Woo! That was awesome. That was really cool looking. I really liked how she led into it with her shoulders, because you get a lot of leverage out of that, okay? And then I like how the main was trimmed into the second half of the flatten, which allows Lucas to control when the flatten stops, when the boat gets flat. Ryan and Paul, control the jib, control the jib, control the jib. Okay, first thing with spinnakers and FJs, at least I always think, is always have the jib controlled. A lot of people forget about it and say, who cares? But I think once you learn how to control the jib, you don't really have to think about it too much. It's really quite easy once you're good at it. Ryan was trying to break the pole all day long, just like always. Paul is confused later. So a lot of pumping, a lot of working the boat on here. Paul, you could see, was even probably pumping the kite there. You want to pump the guy when you pump the kite as well. Okay, you want to have your hand up here, and when Ryan pumps the main, Paul should pump the kite as well using the guy. The problem is you guys are reaching at such a hot angle that you're so far back in the boat that you can't really do it very well. The pole should never, ever, ever touch the forestay like this, especially when you're loaded up on a tight reach. That's bad form. Look, I zoomed in on it right there. And yes, okay, you will break the pole, or you will break the forestay, you will bend the pole permanently, you will break something. It's not good, okay? You need to have the pole off of the jib. I think we only got one start, and that's the end of this video. We'll see. Turned out to be a really good start. The only thing I didn't like about it was that you could see how you guys were, you guys aren't focused. You're always talking to each other, and you're talking about how the drills are, and you're talking about what's happening. It's like, that, you don't need to do that. You need to focus on what you're supposed to be doing in the moment right now, okay? Everyone, actually, this turned out to be a great start for all four of us, but that's a really cool shot. That looks good. So Chris is hiking harder than Ian here, right? We're seeing that again. And almost do some mainsail analysis here. So what it looks like, this sail, see these wrinkles? Okay, all these wrinkles? Because the mast is bending too far forward in this spot, okay? See the mast bend? And that's because you have too much vang on. So too much mast bend is going to stretch your sail horizontally. It's going to move the draft back. It's going to make it easy for your sail to turn inside out, okay? So turned inside out means on an FJ sail, you crank the vang on so tight, the mast bends forward, and if you draw a line from the top of the front of the batten to the clew of the sail, everything inside that line will be luffing. okay? And then you'll have the leech working and the top of the sail working. And that's good when you need to be depowered and when you need to be depowered. But in this example right here, we need more power and we need to be hiking harder. We need a straighter mast and we need more hiking, okay? Whoever can carry the most amount of power with their sails fully trimmed and their boat flat is going to be the fastest boat on the water, okay? Unless they have so much power that it's turning into drag, right? So power and speed are on opposite ends of the spectrum, and the more power you have, the more drag you have, okay? The more speed you have, the less drag you have, but you need enough power to push your boat through the water. So it's balancing all of those factors. And in the FJ, your biggest control for doing that is the vang, okay? So the vang is way more important than anybody realizes. Before you aggressively flatten the sails with the vang, you should have the jib leads all the way back. Okay, with these sails, I think they're cut with the leech too tight and the foot too full. So when I sail, I put the leads back always, no matter what, even in light air. Looks like whoever this main, looks like it has a good shape. It's kind of hard to tell in really poorly taken photo. And this is Lucas and Lauren. They look like they have way too much vang on. We had a really good shot of their main sail this day showing way too much vang, and maybe we can find it later. But yeah, you can see it right there. Look at it turning inside out. Lucas is fully trimmed, and this whole part is turning inside out. And that was actually accurate. Okay, this main looks good. It's full, right? Plenty of power, and the boat's flat. They're doing fine. Lucas is trimmed in just as tight, but his main's turning inside out because he has too much vang on. I don't know what that's for, Paul. You misspelled experience.